What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY in the overall markets. I'm going to talk about some very key levels to watch for as time goes on, why Tesla in the market is selling off as Donald Trump has imposed more tariffs, what you should be watching for as time goes on. Just know that I'm not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moo link. Deposit $100 and you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. Deposits $2,000 and you're guaranteed 30. So, as far as the market's going, I just want to mention that right now Tesla's on a very strong downtrend, and we're going to be watching to see if this support holds. So I recommend going to like our 4 hour time frame, just looking at this support we're trying to hold right now. So we'll be watching to see if we could hold around this trend line right here. If we can't, we're going to likely continue to dip a little bit lower. So I'll be watching this very closely. On the daily time frame, Tesla has this support at this gap area, and it's also previous resistance becoming support at 270 we need to hold. If it doesn't hold the 270 area, we're going to be at risk of dipping all the way down to fill this gap towards 250, so please be very careful. But it's not just Tesla. SPY is also down 0.5%. The QQQ is currently down about 0.5%. The market is still coming down a bit more. It's the whole market that's coming down. Even Nvda is down 3% this morning. The market is all dipping down this morning because of this news that's coming out. Donald Trump has once again increased tariffs on Canada and Mexico. The U.S. scheduled to begin collecting a 25% tariff today, essentially. And on top of this, I just want to say that this isn't a surprise. This is what Donald Trump has been saying for a while. So the 25% tariffs have been imposed. I'm not going to list every single thing about this. By the way, guys, Donald Trump, he had his reasons to do it, and he could go on for hours about why he wanted to do it. But I'm not going to focus on that. I just want to say that what's done is done. The tariffs have been imposed, and now we're looking at what the next reaction is going to be. There is a possibility of a start of back and forth retaliation. So it's worth mentioning that now Canada is retaliating. They want to impose 25% tariffs on about $107 billion USD worth of American goods. So that's very important. They're also going to be putting about tariffs on $20.7 billion worth of goods, including orange juice, peanut butter, wine, coffee, and the list goes on. So Canada is retaliating. That is super important. So that they're basically putting the tariffs on about $20.7 billion worth of goods, and the remaining 83 billion or 86 billion is going to begin in 21 days, according to Trudeau. So that's some big news, right? Now Canada is trying to retaliate. Mexico is going to make their announcement about retaliation on Sunday, from what I'm seeing in these reports. And then one more thing that's going on is Donald Trump is going to give a speech in front of Congress today at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's many hours after the market closes. What he says could affect the markets too, so just keep that in mind. Now, as far as Tesla goes, there's been some bad news that's coming out about their Chinese sales. They're down about 49% in February, but keep in mind, people are waiting for the Model Y refresh. Then we also had Lunar New Year, so it's not a surprise to see the sales dip. We're just waiting to see what happens with their overall the overall sales when the refresh comes out. So that's what we're essentially just waiting for. So just keep that in mind. I'm not really too I'm not entirely afraid right now. We still have to wait for that refresh, and we have to wait for the Q1 results. There's still some time left. So for more news, just keep in mind that we have the economic optimism report at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And besides that, there's nothing else that's too crazy that's coming out. This is what earnings look like. We had Target announce their earnings. So keep in mind, Target reported their fourth quarter earnings at $2.41 per share. That's above expectations. Net sales fell year over year to about 30.9 billion, and overall, their earnings, their guidance was actually quite decent. I would say it's very close to expectations, if anything. They are expecting, a slight decline in sales for February, though. That's what they mentioned. And I would say earnings was so earnings from Target. Some things were good, some things were not so good. Keep that in mind. Later on, we have CrowdStrike announcing their earnings and a few more. And don't forget, we have Costco on Thursday. So that's it for our news and data. The majority of news is more negative, and Tesla's still looking relatively weak here. We're going to be watching to see if we could hold 270. We got to hold that. That is a big support for Tesla. We're still testing previous resistance becoming support. If that does not hold, we could be dipping down to about 250. So please keep that in mind. there's going to be a risk of more downside if we continue to downtrend like this, if we can't hold that support right over there. I also want to mention that as we continue this downtrend, 250 could be a very, very good target for Tesla. So watch 270. I think Tesla will test that and we'll see if it holds. If not, we could continue to downtrend pretty hard. And for now, the chart remains more bearish looking at our technicals. We'll be watching this trend line to see if this holds, but for now, Tesla's continuing to reject and we're looking weak. On SPY, we're looking weak. We're barely holding 580. We'll be watching this very closely. If it doesn't hold, I think we could be dipping all the way down closer to like 575 and eventually 573. So I do think that we're watching 580 to see if it holds. And if it does hold, you want to see us get back up at 585 to at least start some kind of small bounce. If 580 does not hold, we could be dipping to like 575 to 573 on SPY. There could be more downside coming, and there's going to be a risk of these lows to be retested. So for now, we are looking more bearish. The bears have a bigger edge, and with all the tariff talk, that is causing a sell-off. For the QQQ, we're on a bit of a downtrend as well. We're going to be looking to see if we could hold around this 490 area. That's going to be our main support right now. We have 492 to 490. If that does not hold, we could be dumping to about 485. So please be very careful. We still remain bearish. We're going to gap down. We'll see if we could try to bounce upon open, but then we're going to likely continue this downtrend. I need to see us reclaim 506 to really bounce. If we get back above 500 and 506, then yes, this could attempt to bounce, but otherwise, we still remain more bearish. So just keep that in mind. The Russell 2000 is on a downtrend. We want to see this get back above like 210 to bounce. If not, we could be dumping all the way down to 200. So for now, we do look more bearish, and this is going to be at risk of tipping closer to these low levels. I do want to mention there's a head and shoulders here now. There's like a left shoulder head and then a right shoulder, and the full measured move takes us down to, all the way down towards like the low 200s. So this could still dip a little bit more to the low 200s. We're still showing weakness. ES is dipping. We're going to be riding this trend line to see if this could hold us around 5,800. If not, we could be dumping all the way down to much lower levels. So there's going to be a risk of downside looking at the chart on ES. On others out there, such as NQ, are looking bearish. We got this big rejection as well. We need to reclaim at least. I would like to see it get back above 21,000 to bounce. If it can't get back to above at least 20,500, we may continue to downtrend all the way down to about 20,000 flat. Bitcoin got a big rejection. It was trying to bounce initially, only to come back down. We're looking for this imbalance fill towards 80,000. Nvidia is selling off relatively hard, by the way. We're continuing to fall. I need to see it get back above 115. Otherwise, we could be dipping closer to about, there could be a lot of more downside coming all the way down to 105 and 100. So keep that in mind. Tesla's still downtrending. We'll have to see if we could hold 270. Watch the 280 area is going to be our main resistance, and then we'll have to see if we could get back above 294. Otherwise, Tesla looks kind of weak. Apple's barely holding support right here around 238. If we hold this, we could bounce. If not, we could be dipping towards 232. So watch and see if that holds. We're barely at support right here. On coin, we got this big rejection. We're watching 200. There's also this gap, I believe, all the way down here to watch for. So watch 200. If it doesn't hold, I could be looking for essentially 195. Amazon's making lower highs, so we're looking for essentially 202. If that fails us, 200 could be coming, then 197.5. For Meta's on a very, very big downtrend. We could be dipping all the way down towards 635. For Microsoft, we're making lower highs and lower lows. We could be dipping all the way down to about 380. If that fails us, then we could be looking for a big move down towards 375. On Google, we're making lower highs and lower lows, so we could continue to fall. We're going to be looking at 168. If that does not hold us, we could be dipping all the way down towards 165 and then 163 as we're still making lower highs and lower lows. So the market remains bearish. The VIX is still very, very elevated. And for Tesla, we got to see if that 270 area could hold it. There's a nice support there, but I just want to say I'd be very careful with it. We're still on a big downtrend, and there's still a lot of news coming out about these tariffs. Now countries want to retaliate. We're seeing Canada retaliating, and then Mexico may do it very soon as well. So keep that in mind, guys. There's still a lot of fear associated with this event, but let me just tell you, the market will eventually price all of this in and bounce. We're just not ready yet. The time will come soon, but we're not ready yet. Okay. So, with that being said, I thank you for listening. Have a good rest of your day and peace out.